Thank you. I certainly wasn't expecting that. She came and said, let me introduce you and everything. And I said, I knew she was going to do it. I'm going to give one joke that I think Trustee Belcher gave about me that she got me really good. She said, Jason, I feel like you Benjamin Buttoning right before our eyes. Because I saw you in 2021, you had a great go-to, a few more pounds, but this job won't make you run. Now, if I can, I know Ed mentioned, any first-time people that are here today? First time. All right, welcome. Still the pastor's line, the doors of the church are open. But I ask about first time because, sometimes we come in here and we assume that everybody knows what's going on. And the reality is we've had 4 years. We've heard many different things. We've heard 4 years of failure, the Dalton disappointment. They say Dalton's best export is content. So these are the things that we are working to change, that we are maneuvering. So as we talk about changing the narrative, that's exactly what we're working towards. So I had note, because every time somebody made a comment, I'm like, oh, that's a good point I need to kind of touch on. When we started off, things actually went sour even after the primary election was successful, and before the swearing-in ceremony. And when I talk about that, it's the transition team that was put together that did not include the Board of Trustees. A whole transition team came in, started working with departments, and we started getting phone calls. Did you know about this? What's going on? Because in that transition, everybody's nervous. The employees are nervous. The community is trying to figure out what direction are we going in. And as board members, we and clerk, and when I say board members, please know I'm including the clerk, because sometimes we have to say mayor and trustees, and that clerk becomes overlooked in that process. But when we say as board members, we had absolutely no clue. We were kind of isolated right then, but we didn't want to show that fight. Then when it came to the swearing-in ceremony, we had no clue how much it was going to cost, what was going to happen. So when we started going to we got a call about, what was it, a week before? 1 week before the ceremony, we were I guess privileged to see what the itinerary was. And when we looked at that itinerary, we couldn't even speak.
Yeah.
So we're in the middle of the meeting, we're talking and say, well, wait a minute, you think maybe there's just a portion where the board might be able to say, thank you to those who believed in me. Thank you to my friends and family who came in from, out of town, different countries.
Right.
No, I ain't maybe countries. Clerk Key has some family a little bit. And the answer was, no, we'll get back to that. Again, as a board, we did not want to start fighting in that manner. So I would say I think the original public display of a disagreement was when it started coming down to the warrant list, all the things being put on that warrant list that we disagreed with. And as we try to have all those discussions behind the scenes, it just didn't play out right. So we had meetings with we had meetings with Pastor for Abundant Life Christian Center. We had another meeting, all these things in an effort to try to make sure that we didn't become what we ultimately ended up becoming. But I want to make sure that everybody knows the Board of Trustees and the clerk recognize this fighting is not in our best interest. The direction that we're going in is the complete opposite. In fact, when everybody sees the meetings, there's 2 different meetings.
Absolutely.
There's meetings where Ms. Henyard is present, and then there's meetings where she's not. And the meetings where she's not, it's a business actually gets conducted.
Yeah.
Those meetings they're labeled as boring. And I tell people our goal is that we're going to conduct CPR on the community, meaning we're going to have the meetings be consistent, predictable, and repeatable.
Yes.
We want to do that so we can make sure that our business community knows that we can level things off and they can be proud to be here. We want the residents to know that they can come to a meeting and have meetings like this where everybody is just celebratory of one another. That's what a community is. So as we go a little bit deeper into kind of the back and forth, after a while we recognize, I know trustees, I get so privileged when I hear the trustees talk about Jason's leadership and things like that. And in particular, I'm going to say with the Board of Trustees, because as we look at the talent that we have on the board, every member on this board could individually run for mayor themselves, and they have the resume to back it up. So we got Trustee Brown with Human Resources and Business Development, Trustee Belcher, background in finance and knowledge of the police and fire departments.
All right.
Trustee Norwood with her way she works with the youth and real estate. Edward Steve with his communication skills and a way to get the knowledge out. And Clerk Key, who I've always raved about with professionalism, background knowledge. And you're gonna correct me because I always call it public housing. And she corrected me as community development. Community development with CHA. So when we look at that level of talent, I'm always honored to be the one that's able to deliver the message and, God willing, pull the team together. But I'm also talking about that in a way that as we started in the early days, they would call, and every time something would go crazy. Tiffany, she painted, what was she painting on King Drive? In an effort to be vengeful to a business, painted the curbs yellow for no parking because she didn't care for that business and had the police officers come and run. So they would call, and so I'll get calls from the board, and I'm trying to kind of balance. Well, it's new. It's a young administration. We're all going to talk. We're going to get there. And after about 2 or 3 months, each call. So what we gonna do now, Jason? You giving her the benefit of the doubt. Give her a minute. Oh no, it's been 10 minutes now. What? How many minutes we gonna give her? And I remember there was a part where, honestly, my spirit sank because it's like, this is not going right. I think I took maybe about a good 3 days, and I said, guys, I'm flooded. I can't talk. And during that time, I'm just kind of praying like, okay, how do we do this? How do we move things forward? And the only answer that came back to me was, Jason, you took an oath. And that oath has to be followed, and it doesn't matter which side, as long as that oath is being followed. Yeah. And I think from that time forward, it was coming before that, but we consistently have moved forward on an agenda that is consistent with an oath. So as Trustee Steve mentioned, she would come to us and say, well, what do you want? Like it was just what do you want? Just tell me, you want a job? You want to get, and we would always say, we want you to follow the ordinance.
Right.
It was a very simple concept that just never kind of sank in because we were never looking for anything more than the community to be serviced in the way that we wanted to. So I think that's going on to more of the background. Now I'm going to talk a little bit more. Let me see here. Got that. Oh, it's a lot. It's but I would say in the process of what we're doing, and I think we've acknowledged a lot of people, I would almost be nervous if I tried to individually point out members of this community that are in this room that have been part as we talk about a movement, and I know we've shown a lot of affection for one another. But I think from the board, it comes out into the community because this could not happen without people such as Dan Lee and his lovely wife, our favorite survivor Vivian, Miss Thelma,
going to jail.
Miss Natalie, Miss Natalie here. I know Mary Yvonne's not present. Mary's been such an outspoken voice.
Yes.
I see our sister Alicia back there. Karen, JB, all part of it. We got Garrett, Jesse, I can go around this, but this is the community that we're looking to build. Now I'm gonna highlight I'm gonna highlight as we got started, one of the big, who I would call the coordinator. Because not only would she call everybody, I'm gonna go with Miss Sherry, Brittany.
Absolutely. You better take your flowers.
Not only would she call every member of the board to kind of talk through what direction we need to go in, as people started posting on social media the wrong things about our community, she would call and get them together really quick.
Yeah.
And then it started transitioning into the news media and the YouTubers. And every one of them, I will tell you, there's not one person in the media that does not know Sherry, Brittany, Hatcher because of all the great work. But she wanted to make sure our community was represented. They were out there saying that we make $20,000 a year.
24. I
What
remember
community are they
that.
talking about?
Say that.
That's not us.
Definitely not my daddy.
I'm saying that because the goal is going to be it's going to be incumbent on us as the next administration that we keep this energy going. And I'm not even placing that. Of course, I'm letting everybody know we want everybody to be present. We want your engagement.
Absolutely.
My responsibility will be making sure that we have venues and avenues, opportunities, volunteer, we don't got no money. Volunteer opportunities, but ways that we keep it going.
Right.
Another thing that I don't know if this was a plus or a minus that I heard. They say Tiffany put Dalton on the map the way NWA put Compton on the map.
Born and raised in Dalton.
I'm saying I don't like in one way. It's you got the exposure, right? So that's the good thing. But then we talking about gangsters, so I don't know, but I do want to say, with every threat comes an opportunity.
Absolutely.
This is not only as we go through what is the election day, but this is our opportunity. There's going to be so many people that want to pour back, that currently want to pour into us and want to move it forward. And that's going to be our job, is to make sure we keep the fun going, we keep the energy going, and we do it in a way that we're building the community as one. So that's going to be part of our next drive. So as we talk about changing the culture, or changing the narrative around Dalton, because I really am big on this, and this is just probably the biggest part of the platform message that we're moving, is Dalton is not a culture of chaos. But I will say, for the last 12 years, we've noticed that there's always been this big split. Board versus the mayor, who's right, who's wrong. And that shifts down from board and mayor down to the employees.
Yes.
Because now the employees feel like I have to pick a side.
Yep.
Right.
And can I talk to this one? Can I not talk to that one? How do we shift? How do we do this? And then that carries over into the residents, because we're talking amongst one another now. This employee told me that Trustee so-and-so ain't no good by taking your money. So changing the narrative is going to start with rooms like this, us communicating with one another in a way that we realize just because we don't agree does not mean we need to attack one another.
Right.
We have to make sure that we continue to love each other. In particular, for the married folks, the hardest time to love your spouse is when they getting on your last gut. So we get up. Damn, we all had too much room. So we get up every day and we choose. We get the chance to choose to move together. And that's what I want as a community, that we choose to love each other, in particular in those moments. I love in the board meeting where there's a vote, and then it's like, 3 ayes, and then Trustee Belcher say I'm present. And then after the meeting, it's like, what happened? Why? Y'all not together? And it's not, we really are 5, 6 independent thinking minded individuals that get that opportunity. And it's not a sign of a break, it's a sign that we're challenging each other. We're learning to grow, we're pushing the envelope. And anytime I hear it, sometimes I stop and I think, man, did I communicate before the meeting about it, or is there something that happened? Because there's something, it also lets me know there's another level that I have to go to make sure that we got it. So it's okay. Disagreement is fine. When I came, I would like to think, or I think some people in this room may, they'll correct me hopefully after the meeting. When I first came in as a trustee in 2017, there was all the expectations or assumptions, oh, you're just gonna do what this person says you're gonna do. It's because you look at who you come in with, and the assumption is always, oh, it's gonna be a rubber stamp.
Yep.
I can guarantee one thing, this is definitely not a rubber stamp board, and nor would I like it. We encourage the disagreement, but as I came in to it, I think Trustee Belcher was actually one of the people that was on my tail when I first got in there. But I would say they would come to the meeting and ask questions and say, Trustee Howard, what do you think about this? And each question would force me to kind of dive a little bit deeper into what's going on in the village, learn a little bit more. And as we came out of it, I would always have my thought, independent thought, and through that process, it helped me to grow, God willing, as a trustee into somebody that can continue to serve in the community, because that's really the direction that we're working to grow in. So with that, people ask leadership style, or why do I maneuver, I guess, the way that I do, because I'm really not big on giving speeches. This is probably the longest that I've talked in a while, and it's probably the longest you're gonna see me talk in the next 4 years, because there's a lot of work to do. I would rather be doing the work than saying it. But however, it is important that we share what we intend to do. The style that we're going for is a decentralized management style, meaning that we pour everything that we can into making sure that the staff, that the managers have the training and equipment they need, and that the employees have that, and everybody has the freedom to have their thoughts and grow and develop. Because I mentioned before about, and I said this with the trustee board, there's so much talent, when I say within the trustee board, and there's so much talent within the departments. And as long as you allow people to be free thinking and explore that, they will bring all of that talent to the forefront. And that's what we've witnessed. I'm going to even say in the community of Dalton. I was always taught that if you need, as long as you're willing to listen, and if you need the answers to the question are in the room.
Yes.
In this room alone, I'm sure we have accountants, we got doctors, we have attorneys. Our community has everything we need if we pull together and just listen. So when we talk about, when I'm saying decentralized, I mean, we really want to encourage people to get that training and come back, bring it, and apply it to the village of Dalton so that we can all be better. Now, if things are not going correctly, I'll be very centralized and very engaged, but that's the charge, and it will always be my responsibility. I'm not going to pass the buck, but however, I do want to make sure we encourage growing the community, growing talents, and growing knowledge, and that's what I'm doing in terms of working together. I think I had two more things on here. I might have already covered it. So I think that really kind of wraps up. See, I feel like I had it. Okay, no, but I will go in there. So as I kind of summarize, because there is a lot of times that people will ask, is he strong enough? Is he ready? I think I heard Ed ask that question. But I strongly believe you praise public, you discipline private. So we're not going to be publicly arguing back and forth and doing things like that. However, there's plenty of times, I think we started having some conversations where it's going to get a lot more in depth. We will sit down one-on-one, and anybody who has questions or challenges, I feel that I've grown over the last 8 years. I'll continue to grow, but at the same time, not even with growing, I really look forward to the tests that are ahead, to the struggles that we have going, and I know that there's a brighter Dalton on the other side. So when we talk about the decentralized sky or whatever, I always say I am, because we as a community, and we as a community are going to come out ahead and be successful in 2025. So we're going to ask everybody to clean house in 2025.
Become the mayor. Can we still have tea with the trustees?
Yeah. Please.
There ain't gonna be no trustees, but we still want tea with the trustees. You can just be our standing guests all the time.
I'm going to say there's a couple things. The team of the trustees definitely stands. If something's not broke, we're not working to try to change it. It's never. The few things we'll do. One is the ordinance about hiring and firing that's in the community will remain. There's no reason for me to try to go and ask for ability to hire and fire without the board, when the design and the intention is to make sure that the board is included. That's going to stay in place. T with the trustees will stay in place. Honestly, we can give a list of all those places where the mayor's name is listed through our community. Give it to the board, and they can decide what names need to stay and what names don't need to go. There's too much work to be done for us to be focused on trying to promote any one individual, and we're going to focus on the work.
Trustees featuring Mayor Jason House.
I'll allow it.
You have a question?
Oh yeah, we're going to come to the question after.
When you win, is Ms. Pinyard going to try to destroy what's going down Greenwood?
We can't.
Or
I don't care. Destroy her own property. It's just a reminder of her.
because I have all confidence in you winning. Is Ms. Pinyard going to try to destroy what's going down Greenwood for her development that she created?
She shouldn't be able to. That surely is village property.
You know, the $1 million question is what will happen? I'll say we're prepared for everything that possibly could, whether that's destruction, an attempt of destruction of property, attempt of access to the county. We have plans in place to safeguard us against that. And if we see anything in terms of destruction on down Greenwood, we will execute the law to the fullest extent of our possibilities.
Absolutely.
There's not going to be any fights in Dalton. I mean, even that brawl, which we don't condone brawls, but we want to make sure that we always have a presence that will enforce and make sure that Dalton doesn't have scenarios like that, so that we can mitigate it before it even gets started.
Thank you.
So we're going to have a question section, guys. We're going to first get to my favorite part. We're going to get to the raffles. But before I get started, I just got to ask, is there a heart in the house tonight? Stand up. So you all get your tickets out. If you do not have a ticket, raise your hand, because this is the moment. This is when you find out who your real friends are. This is when you find out right now. You all know the drill. If you win, come and see me afterwards. We're going to go out and
She said we're going out to lunch.
so everybody has a ticket?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's do it.